After a game like the original Half-Life, it'd be difficult to imagine how Valve could up the ante and make a game better than the first one. And some people, they didn't. Half-Life 2 was a total separation from the plot and setting we were all used to in the first game. And considering the weaker arsenal and overuse of physics puzzles, thanks to the Source Engine's ability to make use of props affected by physics, people didn't always like it as much as the first one. Of course, now most people do consider it the best game to come out on the PC, and if nothing else, the best Half-Life. But does it really accomplish either of these? Let's find out. The last time we saw Dr. Freeman, he had been contacted by the mysterious Three-Man and offered a choice. Either agree to be put on ice for a later task, or find himself faced with impossible odds, almost definitely going to end in his own death. Not wanting to freaking die, Gordon takes the deal, and years later he finds himself waking up on a train to City 17. A lot has changed since that fateful day in the Black Mesa facility, and it isn't just in the environment Gordon is in. Earth has been taken over by the mysterious Combine race, a collection of conquered dimensions utilizing the populations of each of their conquests to take over the next. Zen was the last dimension they took, and when Black Mesa started the Resonance Cascade, they took notice. So in a way, it's all your fault, being the one who pushed the crystal into the beam. From little snippets you overhear during the game, you learn that the battle between humanity and the Combine only took 7 hours. That doesn't paint a pretty picture. If the entirety of the human race couldn't fend off this enemy, how could one guy with a PhD in theoretical physics do any better? Even with the ability to quick save. It still hasn't been explained. Valve, you're on thin ice with me right now. Gordon doesn't have many opportunities to put that PhD to good use though, because once he wakes up on the train, he discovers something pretty bad. The occupation by the Combine isn't a nice discovery for the wary man. Fortunately, it isn't too long before he meets up with old friends, Dr. Kleinel and Bonnie Calhoun, a scientist and security guard from Black Mesa respectively, are walking with an underground resistance, poised to try to get a teleport on operation. They're trying to get a better method of transporting refugees from inside the city to the underground lab of another former colleague of Gordon's, Eli Vance. After dodging a raid on an apartment complex, Gordon finds himself rescued from a series of Combine Metro Police with the help of Eli's daughter, Alec Vance, and he's escorted to Kleinel's lab. It's time for the first test for the teleporter, and wouldn't you know it, Gordon is just in time to be the second man to go through it. It goes well the first time, with Alex, but when it's Gordon's turn to have his particles ripped apart and put back together, things go completely wrong, and Gordon ends up right behind the lab. Because of this, he had to go the rest of the way on foot. Fortunately, he does make it, and he meets up with another key player in this story, Dr. Thudis Mossman, and he gains one of the key promotional features of the game, the 0-point energy field manipulator, allowing Gordon to pick things up and chuck them at enemies. Speaking of weapons, now would be the best time to discuss the arsenal in this game. Remember how I said I thought your choice of weapon in the first was kinda generic, save for a few choice weapons? Well, this game had that problem to an even greater degree. It's probably one of my biggest gripes with the game. You have franchise staples like the crowbar, pistol, SMG, and magnum, and weapons like the shotgun and crossbow, and grenades that are actually really fun to play around with the physics of the engine. But new to this game are weapons like the AR-2 post rifle and the bug bait, the former of which being an energy assault rifle alternative to the SMG. The latter is mostly a scripted sort of weapon that lets you take control of an enemy type later on. And then we have the gravity gun. It's easily the most diversely capable weapon of the lot, thanks to the overabundance of physics props you can chuck at enemies to cave their skulls in. If you play the game with only this weapon, it's really fun. Easily my best playthrough of the game. But with the rest of the weapons, there's a disappointing lack of variety. With the exception of the AR-2 and the gravity gun, everything's basically the same as the first game. For a sequel, I would have expected a little bit more. And apparently so will Valve, seeing that there was an entire armory full of additional weapons they were planning to implement. Flare gun, light machine gun, sniper rifle, bullet-based assault rifle, flamethrower, weird trip mine bar grenade thing. And unfortunately, most of these were stitched when the 2003 Anon leak of the game was released. That prompted Valve to scrap most of what they had developed. Back to the retail story, it isn't too long before Eli's lab was attacked, and after being separated from Alex, Gordon had led to the entrance to Ravenholm, with help from Alex's AI companion, Dog. And he's made to escape Citadel, and before too long, he learns why they don't go to Ravenholm anymore. It was a victim of a Combine head crab cell bombing, turning the entirety of the town into a surprisingly tense romp through Zombieland. Here, you get your first encounter with the fast zombie type, a headcrab zombie decomposed long enough for it to be mostly bone and muscle, so because of this, it's dangerously fast. In addition, you'll have the poison zombie type to contend with. These undead carry around 3 additional poison headcrabs, in addition to the one already on their head. They take more damage, and when a poison headcrab lunges at you, it'll zap all of your health right down to its absolute minimum. It'll come back, but it'll take a while, so be careful. After navigating his way through the beginning of Ravenholm, Gordon meets up with the odd Father Grigori, a seemingly insane man who has set up traps throughout the village. And, of course, he ends up helping Gordon. He eventually makes his way out of Ravenholm through the graveyard, and comes out a set of old mines to a train yard, just before a warehouse on the coast. After helping a group of rebels with a troop of Combine soldiers, Gordon is given a jeep and told to head down to the coast to get to Nova Prospect. Eli Vance has been captured. Along the way, he picks up an RPG, starts a body count on another new enemy type, the antlion. These annoying little bugs are summoned as soon as you step foot on sand, so needless to say, you're going to want to avoid that. While approaching the prison, Gordon comes across a rebel hideout and helps deal with the greater antlion blocking the gate. Once he's dead, he's given the pheromone sack of the antlion god, letting him control the antlions. This is that bug bait I was talking about. All around, not that useful. I rarely used it. After getting past the external security of the prison, Gordon makes it inside and eventually finds Alex and then Eli. And then things go wrong when, gasp, Mossman is suspected and basically confirmed to be walking with the Combine. He takes over the teleport you and Alex were going to use to get the 3 of you back to the lab and forces you into a mandatory wave survival section. These parts are okay. There was one earlier in the level, and in both cases you had to set up turrets and mines to help defend a central location. They break up the flow of the game, and I honestly didn't enjoy them as much as the rest of the level. Anyway, soon enough that's over, and the teleport is ready. You and Alex go through to arrive in Kleiner's lab, only to discover you've been gone for a whole week. The last teleport, the one you went through, triggered a large explosion that decimated the prison, and that got people's attention. The real rebellion against the Combine has started. So while Alex helps Kleiner to get to safety, Gordon stays and helps fight the Combine on foot, walking to try to get to the Overwatch Nexus. There's a mortar restricting further pushes. They get to Mordor torn to rubble, and Gordon makes his way directly into the Combine Citadel, which later provides some, frankly, really beautiful examples of art direction. There's a reason the Source Engine is still used today, besides Valve being stingy about using Source 2. The game looks nice, definitely helped by the fantastic art style. The city itself is Eastern European, which nicely classes with the bluest grey bolted steel you see used by the Combine. Some levels are a little less memorable, but all in all the game does a very good job at keeping things interesting to look at. Also really fun to watch physics optics. Anyway, eventually all of Gordon's arsenal is confiscated and destroyed by a weapon-picking field, while also turning his gravity gun into a beast of a weapon. You can pick up organic targets with this thing, chuck them at other organic targets to create a domino effect of twitchy ragdolls. This alteration of the gravity gun is great. I only wish you could use it more. Eventually, Gordon can only proceed by climbing in a prisoner pod and hope it brings him where he needs to go. And in a sense it does, as he noticed and brought up to Green's office. He spouts some bullshit about trying to get Gordon to walk with him before running off with your gravity gun after Mossman frees you, Eli, and Alex. Thanks, Mossman. And finally, we've reached the final boss fight. Green is trying to get to the Combine Overlord to save himself, chucking insults at Gordon while hiding in a protective bubble near the reactor of the Citadel. And then Gordon blows up the reactor. Gordon comes and frees his time to save him and Alex before leaving the game on a cliffhanger. All in all, I would say Half-Life 2 at the very least matches how good the original was, and at some point exceeds it. The original would still rate higher on my scale, and it has a more creative arsenal, and a serious nostalgia factor with the Golden Source engine. In addition, the plot of the second game isn't as easy to get into, and it weirdly shifts setting. But it's no question this one is just as good as the first. Valve planned to release episodic expansions on the story to accelerate production, leading to faster releases. The fourth of these, Half-Life 2 Episode 1, was released 2 years later, but I'm all sure we know where that ended. Half-Life 2 didn't launch with a multiplayer mode, like the first game, but it wasn't long before they did release a deathmatch. It's a subjective opinion, but I prefer it so much more than the first game. So that was Half-Life 2. This video was much longer than the first one, because I feel like now that if you watch this sort of one, it seems like the time to up the ante and subject you to this longer sequel. Gotta follow the sequel, bigger but more of the same, right? Hope you enjoyed this. Have a nice week, and goodbye.